And billionaires need their wage slaves, people. What's up, guys? It's Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer, back at you with another video. Welcome back to my channel, where today we are talking about some posts on the Regretful Parents subreddit. And these posts were all written by people whose children are, in one form or another, abusing their parents. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but you get the gist. And it should be said as a disclaimer that a lot of the parents who write on the Regretful Parents sub do mention that their children are on the autism spectrum or have some kind of personality disorder or some sort of diagnosis. And that is not the point of this post. I did not go looking specifically for people with autistic children. I do not mean any disrespect to anyone with autism. I do not have the authority to speak on that. And shout out to all the good people in my comments section on various videos who have educated me on how genetic autism can be and run in families and various other aspects. So whether or not the children in these posts have any kind of disorder is besides the point. The point is that when you choose to go through with a pregnancy, it doesn't matter how much money you have, how much education you have, how prepared you are, how sober or addicted you are rolling the dice. And that is not told to people enough because it would put a lot of people off having kids. And billionaires need their wage slaves, people. So let's check out these posts and see what these parents have to say. But first, this is the part of the video where I encourage all animal lovers out there, please consider fostering or volunteering on site for your local animal shelter. This is Goldie, and she is 4 months old. She's recovering from a fractured pelvis. She was brought in as a stray who probably got hit by a car. Luckily, I was able to foster her, and now she is recovering. She just had her checkup today, and she's doing well, and she'll be available for adoption next week. So if you love animals, there is a great need for all the soft hearts out there to please help save the world. Do it for the animals. Give it some thought. Thank you. Okay, first post here is by user kindad608. And they said, my son is 5 years old and has aggressive tantrums multiple times a day. I'm already getting a pit feeling in my stomach just thinking about that. Occasionally, he resorts to violence toward me or my spouse, biting, kicking, hair pulling, scratching, etc. I could not live like this. I could not. I would unalive this child, which is one of many reasons why I never had kids, because I know myself. I do not like noise. I do not like mess. I do not like being bitten and kicked. No children for me. And this is what I mean by rolling the dice. You think you're going to have this, most people have some romantic idea of what it's going to be like to have their baby. And they don't really think about, what if this could happen? Okay, they go on. My spouse and I are burnt out, depressed, and hopeless. Listen to that again. My spouse and I are burnt out, depressed, and hopeless. And they're 5 years in to doing the thing that society tells you. You are not an adult. You don't know what real love is. You are not a real man. You are not a real woman until you reproduce. But what if you produce your worst fucking nightmare? That's why these people are burnt out, depressed, and hopeless. We currently go to couples therapy and each go to individual therapy. We tried taking my son to a play therapist, but he refused to talk to them at all. Wow. No one has any helpful solutions, and it's beyond depressing. Today, we tried being fun parents and went to a local Halloween event. We immediately went to the food trucks to order dinner. I took my son to find a bench to sit on. Our son can hold a can of soda and accidentally spilled some of it. He was very upset and wanted a new soda. I tried to empathize about the soda spilling and how, yeah, that's frustrating. Yeah, that is freaking frustrating. I had a plate of scrambled eggs and vegetarian bacon and toast right here in front of me at this desk this morning, and I stuck the fork into the eggs, and the plate was like a little bit off of the desk, and it just went flying, and I had stuff all over me. The dogs had a field day with it. So yeah, that's frustrating, but I don't want to have to deal with the frustrations of some little kid learning how to deal with frustration. Okay, he goes on. I then tried to point out that he still had a lot of soda left, like 3/4 of a can. He screams no at me and proceeds to dump the whole can of soda out, then demanding I buy him another one right now. No, no, no. This kid would be on his way home if I was with him. I mean, I know nothing about raising children, okay? This is a child-free channel. We all know I don't have kids. How do people handle this? I guess they handle it the way I handle the fact that I foster puppies who are not potty trained, but that's not their fault. It's my job to potty train them. So I don't make a big fuss about cleaning up after them. They're babies. Maybe they feel this way about it, but I don't get burned out, hopeless, and depressed by having puppies in my house for a few weeks. Okay, carrying on. I said, no, I won't buy you another soda. You made the choice to dump it out. That's good parenting, you know. Kids need to learn. There are consequences for actions. I'm with you, sir. So he yells at me some more. He throws the can at me. He keeps demanding for more. I tell him no, and I try to send a text to my husband. Okay, so this is the mom, who was waiting for our food still. My son freaks out and tries to grab my phone, begging me not to tell Dad. So at 5, he knows full well that she picked up the phone and she's going to tell his dad by text. 5 years old. Jeez. I know kids are real tech savvy these days, but that's just crazy to me. Then goes back to complaining about how he's thirsty and he doesn't have a drink and he wants more soda. First of all, let me get up on my fucking soapbox here. If I had, this is reason number 8,057 why I don't have children, because I would be the strictest, most horrific mother ever. No soda, no candy, no fast food, no chicken nuggies, none of that bullshit. No annoying TV. Go read a fucking book. Okay, she goes on. Then goes back to complaining how he's thirsty, he doesn't have a drink, and he wants more soda. I point out that he dumped his soda out. So no, I'm not buying him more. He starts hitting me and using his costume mask to attack me. My spouse comes over with food and tries to calm him down and reason with him. Nothing is working, so we tell him we need to go. He starts clawing and biting my husband, who has to carry him to our car that was parked a ways away. Our son is screaming horrible things like he hates us and we're stupid. My husband and I are both gentle, shy people. Oh God, it just got so much worse. So this whole ordeal was an absolute nightmare. This is a prime example of the fact that just because you have a child doesn't mean that person is going to be anything like you or even have anything in common with you. That life comes through you, not from you. And so this kind of thing can happen. These two shy, gentle people produced a fucking nightmare. And that's what she says. The whole ordeal was an absolute nightmare. We're both crying on the drive home, and we send our child to his room for the remainder of the evening. We don't know what to do with our child. This is a regular occurrence, and we're so exhausted. Sometimes I want to unalive myself, which my therapist does know, but no one has any answers. I hate being a parent. And this is a locked post. I think all of these posts are locked. Okay, tell me about the news, commented, and they are not a parent. Neurodivergent or not, I am so sorry you got a horribly behaved child. This sounds like a living nightmare, and no amount of gentle parenting can fix that. I hope he grows up fast and gets medicine or whatever he needs for you to live again. Yeah, well, I mean, they didn't say that this child was neurodivergent, did they? I don't think they did. Um, so possibly this person is like assuming that, but you don't have to be on a spectrum to be a horrible kid. We've all heard the expression, the bad seed. So, some people are born psychopaths. I mean, it happens. And that's the whole point of this post. If you or someone you know or someone you will know in the future wants to have kids, realize that it's not the fluffy unicorns and rainbows dream you have in your mind. You will have those brief fleeting moments, but they are not the bulk of the experience. And the reason I make content like this is because I just really wish it would be normalized for people to really think long and hard and be afraid of getting pregnant by accident, because you should be, because shit like this can happen. Or like the poor 16-year-old girl who was in my comments the other day and said that she found out she's pregnant. Her family would disown her if she gave the baby up for adoption, and she's in a place where abortion is illegal. And she's 16. I mean, if she had grown up with the knowledge that if you are going to do grown-up things like have sex, then you must do grown-up things like be responsible and care for your body by preventing pregnancy, she would have had a different thought pattern. But this is such a passionate subject for me. And yet I get like tangled up in my words. Like I just can't spit it out fast enough. But just don't have kids, okay? Just don't do it, people. Tupacula, that's a good username, said, honestly, kids like this will never respond to gentle parenting. They need very clear expectations, boundaries, and consequences. They actually crave stability and structure in order to feel safe and reassured. Gentle parenting means they typically aren't getting that. Discipline is too vague, unevenly applied, confusing, unclear, or lacking entirely. No offense to OP, but the whole shy, gentle people thing tells me they're too afraid or just don't have the willpower or personality type to discipline their kid in a way he will actually respond to. Well, they did send him to his room for the rest of the night, which I kind of was surprised by that, so good for them. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate the feedback. I actually used to teach at a Montessori school, which I know can get a bad rap, but it gave me excellent first-hand experience with kids before trying for a family. Lots of hard lessons learned there, LOL. I don't agree with physical discipline, but the options you outlined in the comment below are all really great ideas. Kids have terrible fear of missing out, FOMO, a lot of the time, and it really does incentivize them to behave better. Yeah, that's how it was back in the 80s, or, in general, a broad generalization. But still, if you couldn't behave yourself, even as a little kid, you didn't go anywhere. And that was well known and well established. Like, you do not embarrass your parents by acting up in public. And even at home, it's not allowed, Okay, they go on. I agree that most of the time reasoning with them isn't ideal because they quite literally cannot comprehend that level of reasoning at their developmental stage. Yes, true. Which is another reason why people should be required. I mean, required. If I ran the world, you would have to read at least, it would be like a list they used to give you. I don't know if they still do this at schools, the summer reading list. It would be the I'm pregnant reading list. And both parents would have to read it, whatever is on there, learn about the psychology of young childhood, all that shit. You'd have to get a fucking license to have a kid if I was in charge. You can definitely try to reason with them at their level, but the explanation has to be very short and to the point. Like the sentence structure should be, this is our expectation for you. Here is the boundary you crossed, and this is now the consequence. The sequence of events, the cause and effect, has to be very simple, and it shouldn't go into complicated feelings, exceptions, long explanations, etc. They don't have the attention span or ability to understand all that quite yet. Obviously, the child gets older, they will probably inquire about the reasons for the boundaries. And it's good to explain that once they can actually grasp it. Glittering Pussy, wow, commented, you're mixing up gentle parenting with permissive parenting. You literally described gentle parenting. Okay, next post written by Emergency Teach 5789, and it's called My Daughter Hits Me and I Don't Know What to Do. I'm going to try and explain with my feelings separate as much as possible, but please forgive me if I get emotional. You are forgiven, ma'am. My daughter is 11 and she hits me when she doesn't get her way. Where the fuck did this 11-year-old girl learn hitting mom is okay? She goes on, a couple days ago, I told her we couldn't get Starbucks today like I said we would because I got exhausted more than I expected after a long shift at work. I work in healthcare. She cried, started to throw a tantrum, and started to hit me. It's not like punching that most people think. Maybe a better way to describe it is that she thrashes her fists around blindly and close to me and hits me that way. This is another child I would unalive. No. No. No one puts their hands on anyone. Soapbox incoming. Okay, let's avoid that. Okay, carrying on. For a while, I thought it was just me. But I found out that she also hits my mom when they get into disagreements. She does not hit her dad, thankfully. Well, dad must be the one that maybe taught the child that hitting is okay, or the child observed that from dad. You might assume she doesn't do that to her dad because her dad would belt her. I am worried because it looks like she hasn't finished growing. And she's almost my height already at 5'2". She also is not scrawny either. We treat her a lot to ice cream and food, etc. when she does well in school, and it shows. Oh my God. This kid is on a bad track. She goes on. I'm worried she won't outgrow this habit and keeps hitting my mom, who is in her 70s. For context, it is common in our culture to have extended family in the same house. She is the only kid in a household of 5 adults. We are stable financially. I thankfully have plenty of support, but it still hurts so much. So you can do everything right. You can have the money to raise your child and give them a happy life. You can have plenty of adults around you to help. You can have that village that everybody wants. And it still sucks because you roll the dice and you might get a kid that comes out like this. She goes on. Don't get me wrong. I love my daughter. We always got to have that caveat. She's so smart, all A's, studious, and gets Kumon for support. What the fuck is that? Okay, Kumon is a kids' math and reading program. She goes on. We reward her by buying her junk food and things she likes. We tell her we love her, but a part of me wishes I never had her because I never thought I would have a daughter that would leave bruises on me and throws tantrums so much. I grew up in a time and culture where hitting kids is normal. My dad hit me when I got bad grades. When I had a kid, I swore to myself I would never pass that abuse down. Good for you. Now my daughter hits me and it brings me back. It's awful. I'm not scared like I am with my dad, but it hurts knowing I birthed a daughter that would hate me so much. I don't know where I went wrong. I did all that I can, and I'm still miserable. If you are not ready to face hostility with unconditional love and support, This is your sign to not have a kid. Yeah, we need that as like a freaking billboard. Okay, comments on this one. Kitten Funk said, consider stopping giving her junk food as a reward. Yep. This will set the pattern for a really shitty relationship with food. Yep. Not to mention the problem with expecting extra material rewards for doing what is basically her job. Yeah. Yeah, they're raising an entitled brat. Lulutra75. Yes, she doesn't need rewards every time she's a decent human being, but she does need consequences every time she's a shitty one, though. Yeah, she does. Faye for a day. I like that name. She also doesn't need any extra size to throw around since she is knowingly using it to get her way. Fakali said she knows who she can hit without consequences. Stop coddling her. There's a reason she doesn't dare hit her father, and that's from someone who deleted their account. And that is absolutely true. Jora said, I agree sometimes kids realize which parent is the weakest and trouble them the most. Certainly, that is just the nature of young beings of any kind. Puppies will push the envelope to see what they can get away with. Horses do the same thing. So children are no different. And it's up to the adult to educate themselves on how to use their mind to teach their child and not their fists. And she goes on, one of my nephews is extremely rude to his mom, my sister, but they fear their dad because he is strict. My sis is soft and her kids figured that out. OP, try not to pass their misbehavior. Show your strength, your value. Don't be quiet when daughter misbehaves. It will not make you a bad parent. Society often misunderstands when parents try to teach their kids the right things. I hope things get better for you. And someone who deleted their account said, agreed. My nephew is generally well behaved, but anytime he has to be told something several times or gets out of line, all it takes is for my uncle to say something and he's quiet and obedient immediately. Okay, last post for today, and this one is from someone who deleted their account, and it's called, This is the Rest of My Life. How do you accept the fact that you are going to be attacked and assaulted by your child every day until you either die or she actually succeeds in killing you? She's just turned 7 and can literally knock me off my feet. I've got all the children's mental health people involved, but because she is severely autistic and nonverbal, they all just say it's her way of communicating. I am covered in scars and bruises, bite marks, nips, scratches. Today I've been clawed, kicked, and she just grabbed my throat and tried to push me down the stairs. And for a moment, I actually wanted her to do it in the hopes that I'd be hurt enough to either escape for a few days or actually die. The child is 7 years old, a 7-year-old girl. Oh my God. This poor woman, but this is what we're talking about. You're rolling the dice. She goes on, I am just so done that I've stopped taking all of my diabetic medication. I feel like I've read this post before. It's 2 years old as of 2025. And I feel like I've read this before in a different video, but it's such a shocking description of her life that it bears repeating. I'm just so done that I've stopped taking all of my diabetic medication in hopes that I can actually die of illness rather than unaliving, so my partner can collect my life insurance. Because her daughter's severe autism means that she will never live independently, and my partner would have to give up work to care for her till his dying day. The insurance money won't cover it all, but it would take the pressure off for a while. Oh my God. What do you do in that situation? The OP also said, I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your day to read my post and offer advice and kindness on what has been a really fucking hard day. Thank you for your support and for not making me feel like an absolute monster. Oh, man. You are a freaking saint. See, this is the kind of mother that the world expects every woman to be. You just give up yourself. You just sacrifice your life to give your children a good upbringing, to make them happy, to make sure they have what they need. And yet, this woman is literally, actively, actually trying to die because of this kid. Such a waste of human potential. MERS 2000, you're not a monster. You're a mom that needs help and support. You're doing the best you can with what you were dealt. I hope you find the help and support you need as soon as possible. Please tell your MD that you're having unalivement thoughts. That needs to be addressed now. Please do this before you allow your daughter to do something really bad to you. I am praying for you. And then the OP responded to that and said, nothing could ever have prepared me for this life. I've never saw it coming. I was just so hell-bent on being a mother. I was just so hell-bent on being a mother. Yes. And that is the problem for a lot of these people who regret having kids, is that they wanted to be a mother or father. They didn't think about all of the problems that can come with that. They had the romantic idea in their mind. They saw themselves skipping merrily down the lane, holding hands with her little 7-year-old daughter and picking flowers and, going on little girl dates. And that is unfortunately not what happened. It's just heartbreaking. So heartbreaking. The whole situation is heartbreaking. The 7-year-old girl didn't ask to be here. She didn't ask to be, extremely autistic and nonverbal. That's got to be a burden for her to carry, this poor kid. I mean, she beats the shit out of her own mother. She's not a happy girl. And this woman is trying to die. And the husband, it seems, just works. It's so tragic. I know I say it too often on this channel, but it is just tragic to me. All of this could have been avoided if this woman had stopped to think, maybe I should go to the Regretful Parents subreddit and read every post that was ever put on there before I get pregnant. That would be a good idea. I never stopped to think of the reasons why I shouldn't have kids, and autism just wasn't on any of my lists. I feel absolutely disgusting for saying this, but if there had been an antenatal screening program to detect autism during pregnancy, I would have ended the pregnancy. There's no shame in ending a pregnancy, and I am kind of surprised that there isn't screening for that kind of thing. I mean, we are getting pretty advanced in our technology. If I were the conspiracy theory type, I would say, we already have that kind of technology. They just don't tell people because they want as many kids born as possible. Whatever. She goes on, I love her, but if I'd known then what our lives would be, I wouldn't have had her. It's not even like she's a happy child who is blissfully unaware of what normal is. For the most part, she's just irritated, angry, and aggressive. The only things that seem to bring her joy is hurting people or hurting herself. Oh my God. She's never going to be away from the police station when she's older. Wow. But the experts keep telling me I'm worrying about a problem that might not exist, but mothers know. If she can draw blood from me at 7 and have enough strength to knock me to the floor, she will be capable of a lot worse the bigger she gets. Amazing Anime Girl said, "Is there any way you can give her up to a care home that specializes with violent, mentally disabled children?" Well, yeah, she could, but everything I've read on here from parents who have tried that option says the waiting lists are years long. The waiting lists are decades long. It's just so depressing. I don't know if it's different in other countries. If you are somewhere else in the world other than the United States of insanity, please let me know what your country is like. How do they care for the disabled, children, people who are have this condition or are mentally disabled and violent? How do you deal? That was my first full-time job, was working for the state of Massachusetts, at a facility. And I worked on the third floor. They used to call it heaven, the top floor where all the violent patients were. Okay, another person who deleted their account said this: "Why do parents in these situations not try every possible way to exercise this option?" They do. They totally do. You say you love her, but then in your post, you're talking about how close to unaliving you are. Give her up. You only get one shot at life. Yeah, which is why you shouldn't have kids. Why throw it away raising a disabled child that makes your life hell and will eventually take it from you? That is sound advice. But what can you do? What can this lady do? She's going to try everything she can to get this girl into a group home. But like I said, waiting lists, decades long, all kinds of hoops you have to jump through in the US. That's the culture that I know. Okay, Glittering Trip said, here we go. Because the waiting lists for people with such high acuity and special needs are decades long. No exaggeration. It takes years to see doctors and specialists, and getting a diagnosis, treatment, temporary residential placement, or respite for in-home care. This is especially the case for people that will one day be needing permanent placement for their severely autistic loved ones. Yes, because severely autistic children grow up to be severely autistic adults. They don't just disappear when they reach 18. My advice: start getting your loved ones' names on as many lists as possible, even out of state. If a spot opens up in Alabama and you currently live in New York, in 2 years, and your loved one is promised that bed, you pack up and you move to Alabama. There are a lot more severely autistic people out there than there are beds. Yes, that is very unfortunate. Get on those lists now. Do not ask or assume that their siblings can handle them. It's not fair. It's not right. They have their own lives to live. Yes, that is very true. But it seems the only real solution here is to make the kid go live somewhere else. She's 7. You're looking for a group home for a 7-year-old. Tragic is the only way to describe it. And on that happy note, I will end this video here. So if you made it to the end, I so appreciate you. The algorithm really looks at watch time compared to the length of the video. So if you are a fan of my content and you are able to just watch a little bit longer than you usually do, that really helps the channel. So thank you so much to everyone who comes to hear me talk shit on the internet, and let me know what you think. Have you been in a situation like these stories? Do you know someone who's in that situation? I feel these parents' despair, because I would feel that way if I were in their situation. And I imagine it's kind of worse if you really do want kids and then you end up with a kid that treats you like that. I don't know the answer other than just don't have children. Please, for the love of God. There's too many people on earth anyway, in my humble opinion. If you made it to the end, thank you so much to everyone who stops by to hear me talk shit on the internet. It is my pleasure to make this content and run my mouth and all of that. And for the few people on earth who watch it, I so appreciate you. So I will see you guys in the next video. And thank you so much.